So now we're back to being developer 2. And if you remember in the previous video, developer 1 was busily implementing the improved greeting feature, and in fact had gone quite far along on that and even issued a pull request. But imagine that we're back in time now, and that activity hasn't really taken place yet. Developer 1 is off doing that somewhere else, and developer 2 is already in parallel, simultaneously getting started on another feature. So if we look at the version control, we'll see developer 2 is still in a world where the only commit they know about is their own initial commit of the kind of boilerplate version of the Flow world, and completely unaware of what developer 1's been doing. And so developer 2 maybe has been assigned to work on another feature. What the client told us is that they don't want the app just to say hello world all the time. They want to have right under that message a button that says goodbye, and when you click the goodbye button, then both the hello world greeting and the goodbye button disappear. So that's what we're going to work on. It would be tempting to just dive in and start work, but hold on a moment. We are currently in the master branch, and we never want to do any work in the master branch. And if you ever forget that and accidentally do some work in the master branch, there are ways to recover from that mistake, but it's difficult and painful, and I don't really want to teach you all those aspects of Git if I can help it. So I guess if you get in that situation, ask me for help then. But for now, let's try to avoid that. So we're going to create a new branch for our feature. It's the goodbye button branch, and that's what's checked out to us now. So we can safely do our work. And maybe the starting point should just be to change our layout. If we want not just this text view that says hello world, but under it a button, that suggests we must have a linear layout, and we can make it the right size to wrap its content. And let's see, if the idea is that one's under the other, that says, whoops, we don't want layout to end of, it's too quick to accept that. If we want the orientation to be a vertical one, and this text view that says hello world, I'll cut that and paste it here inside the linear layout. That's the top part of it. And then the bottom part is this new button we're going to create, again big enough for its content. And the text that's labeling that button should be goodbye, says the client. That was straight from our user story. Again, I might as well do an extract string resource refactoring on this. Call this the goodbye button label, so that we can more readily change that if we needed to. And the other thing is, if I just kind of look forward a little to what we're going to be doing in the Java code, we're going to be doing things that involve both the text view and the button. We're going to have a listener on the button. We're going to be making both of them disappear. So that clues me in that I'm going to need to refer to them by their IDs. I'll put an ID on here that's the greeting, and I'll put an ID on the other one that says it's the goodbye button. So at this point, what I would normally do is I would stop and I would test this and make sure that the button is correctly displayed underneath the greeting, even though it doesn't actually do anything yet when I click on it. And I'm not going to take the time to actually show you the testing, but once that was complete, then I'd be ready to commit my changes already, just to say we've got a non-functional button displayed. And I can commit and push that, and that's going into a new goodbye button branch on the server. And so you can see that our feature branch is now advanced beyond the point we started at on the master branch. And I guess, we need some code. We can go into our Java here, and we could, I guess maybe we'll put them in instance variables just like your textbook does. So we'll have a private text view that's the greeting member, and a private button that's the goodbye button. And so here in our code, what we might do is set each of those. So the goodbye button is a button that we can get by finding a view by ID, resource ID, goodbye button, and the greeting is a text view, and again we find that by its ID. And so we can finally get going on our real work, which is that the goodbye button should have an on-click listener. Make a new on-click listener. Oops, it's capital on-click listener. And here in this on-click method, what do we want to do? Well, we want to take the button itself and set its visibility to invisible, and likewise for the greeting, set its visibility to invisible. And so at this point again, we would be at the point where we ought to test, see if it really works the way we expect, that clicking the button makes it disappear. And once we're satisfied with that, we could go off and push our changes, make the commit, which says the goodbye button works as specified, something. Commit and push that. So there we are. We're really happy. We've developed our feature. We're ready to go to the GitHub and do our pull request. So we go to GitHub and to our repository, the Demo2 repository, and we look at our branches, and we can see, cool, this goodbye button is strictly ahead of master, two commits ahead of master, none behind. So we could do a pull request for it. Kind of bad news, we see, oh wait, developer 1 meanwhile has a pull request as well. So we're going to have to deal with that, but we can do our pull request. We can create this pull request. And now if anyone wants to look at our pull requests, there are these two open pull requests, one from each developer, and either one of them could be successfully merged in with the master. Neither of them has a problem in and of itself. It's only the interaction that's problematic. So we're developer 2, so let's go ahead and take a look at what developer 1 did. We can look at the actual code. We could take a look at the commit here, and we can see okay, comma, lowercase w, that makes sense. We would definitely not approve it till we had looked at the code. We also might want to check that it really works. We could go back to Android Studio. Right now, the other feature branch, the improved greeting feature branch, isn't visible. We could go to VCS, git and then within Git the fetch item, which brings into our local Git repository everything that's on GitHub. And so it says it's successfully fetched, and yet I don't see anything there. New branch shown in the console. That's what I would expect. Let's go back to log. Branch all, user all. Oh, maybe I have to do the refresh. Okay, so I'll do the refresh. There we are. So let me just change how much screen space I've got here. You can see we start with this master branch down at the bottom with the initial commit, and there are two different branches leading off of it. We've got our goodbye button branch that's checked out that we've been working on, but there's also this improved greeting branch that we got from the origin. If I wanted to try that out, see if it works, I could temporarily go over there. I could go to the remote branch for the improved greeting and check that out as a new local branch. Improved greeting. So there I am. Now remember, I've got some other developers feature branch checked out. I better not change anything. I better not do any development work. If I see something I don't like, I'm going to tell them to fix it. Maybe using a message on the pull request or a comment on the commit. I'm not going to actually do any work myself on their development branch. But by checking it out, I could hit my run button, try it out, see if, yeah, they got the greeting that the client wanted. Am I happy with that? Sure. So we'll go back to the pull request, and I could leave a comment saying, looks good. And the idea is that we want all the developers on the team to sign off on it. And once everybody is signed off, then somebody can do the merge. Well, at this point, developer 1 was the one who did the work in the first place. Developer 2 says it looks good. If there aren't any other developers on our team, we can go ahead and merge the request. It's got a message. We confirm that. It says we could delete the development branch because it's been merged in. And different people have different taste as far as how quickly to tidy things up. I usually do tidy branches up right away, but for now I'm going to leave it just because it makes it easier for you to see in this video what's going on. If we go back to Android Studio and we do another fetch, and this time I'm going to know enough to do a refresh here, we can see now that the master branch on GitHub, on the origin, is showing that it's merged in pull request number 1. And so this improved greeting branch has gotten merged in with the master branch. Meanwhile, the goodbye button stuff is just kind of sitting off here on the side. The same thing is visible in GitHub itself. If we go to the graphs thing and select the network graph, that actually shows, again, a picture. Here, the black is the master. It's moved forward now. The goodbye button, that's the screen. It's just kind of this dead end off of where the master used to be. And the improved greeting, that's what's got merged in. This blue path's gotten merged in. So, good news. We've got progress. We could show the client the version with one feature implemented. On the other hand, it would be nice if we could also merge in this feature of the goodbye button. Before I do that, let's just catch everything up to date here. You'll notice that the local branch master is no longer as far as where the origins master is. So let's catch it up to date. We can go and check out the master branch. So we're now down here at what we locally think of as the master branch. We're going to be moving straight ahead to this newer master. We're only ever going to do this if we're locally behind where the GitHub is. And so we're going to go into the VCS Git, and the merge changes is just a way of saying catch up to date with what was on GitHub. And so we're going to merge this origin master branch, so I click that. All of these options don't really matter if we're just moving forward. They only matter in fancier cases. Say merge, and if we look, now we're up here too. Okay, but what about this goodbye button branch? Remember, we had a pull request on that. It's still an open pull request. But that open pull request has conflicts that must be resolved. It can't just be merged in. Now GitHub actually has a fairly loose standard. It would let us merge things in if we had modified different files. That if one developer modifies one file and another developer modifies a different file, it would let you merge them. But that can create problems. The two might interact in bad ways. So our standard we're going to apply is the stricter standard, which is of being strictly ahead of master. And you can see goodbye button no longer meets that standard. Although it's still two commits ahead of master, it's now also 3 commits behind master. It's not strictly ahead. So we could go to that open pull request there, and we could say, we're going to have to close this pull request. It needs updating to reflect changes in the master. So, okay, so much for our pull request. We're going to have to fix things up and generate a new pull request when we're ready. So, this video has gone long enough. I think we'll just stop it at this point, and the next video will show how to fix up this goodbye button development path to reflect the changes that have happened in the master.